Bam. How are you? Good evening. 9 o'clock on what is this? Tuesday night, 4/26, April 26, 2022. I am John Schenk. I am the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. In the morning, I have a live stream, Deerwood Realty and Friends, Deerwood Realty live streams. And in the evening, I do a live stream about employment, the nature of employment. Why do we work? What is it in it for us? Why does it not make any sense? Why does it have to be so difficult? Why does it seem like our labor laws don't make any sense? That they're outdated? What is this whole work thing about? It's gotten absurd. It's gotten absurd. And so we talk about it every night. If you like this sort of thing, you should probably subscribe. But you know what? If you're just watching this for the first time, whenever it is, I get it. You might want to see what it is we do. Now, normally, or what I would like to do is I'd like to have a nice chat going on the side, but I've had a difficult time getting anyone to chat. Nobody wants to chat with me. And you know what? I get it. We'll just keep going. I actually like to live stream. I don't know what it is. It's fun for me. I did not put out a notice today on Twitter that I'm going to stream tonight. What I'd like to do, I'd like to stream almost every night at 9 o'clock, except for Sundays. I don't want to work on Sundays. I just don't. And, if I go on vacation, things like that, I might not be around. But normally, like around 9 o'clock, look around, check my Twitter. It'll be at our employment. And that's how we'll figure this out. You may be watching this like a year from now. You may be watching it like 2 years from now, 3 years from now. If you are, just check the subscriber count and see where it's at. Maybe it's still at 0, or not 0. Maybe it's still at 7 or 8. Maybe we never get any better than this. And if we don't, it is what it is. We're working on things. So anyway, I feel like we have a really, really strong show tonight because, how do I put it? I don't really understand some things, and certainly the Twitter saga is one of those things that I really don't understand. And so I'm just going to read an article about that. We're going to talk about ethics in an octopus farm. I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see what else is on the agenda. I don't know if we'll get to everything tonight. We might have to move it. A company birthday party that led to a lawsuit. I've been wanting to get to it for the past 3 days. Haven't gotten to it. And then there's someone that says that college graduates, maybe just fresh out of college, shouldn't earn $100,000 a year. I thought that was an interesting thing to talk about. A TikToker gets fired from his job, and that seemed interesting. An Amazon Fresh union member was fired, the first one perhaps. And then there's a hospital manager that was a CEO that was fired. They talk about employee burnout. There's all kinds of things that look like they'll be fun and exciting. Now, I've watched my live streams before, and I don't like the grainy picture, especially when, as I'm coming to you right now, the picture is gorgeous, just gorgeous. So it's very frustrating to me that we have these camera issues as far as, at least on the replay. And I will, at some point in time, upgrade or something or get a better. I've got the best equipment that you can have. Maybe I don't have the best settings because I'm an amateur. I'm not really a camera whiz. I figured it out on my own, which you may say, well, that doesn't take much. But you got to understand, I'm in my 40s, and so this was a big deal for me. Let's see. Do we have anything we want to talk about as far as anecdotal things? I think we will talk about something, and something that I think is worthy of a conversation, and that is, even if you have a full-time job, how does that job fit in with compensation, and what counts as compensation? Does health insurance count as compensation? Well, I think of course. But what if you have the type of job where you can work from home? Is that a blessing or is that a curse? What if you get? What if you have the ability to take off certain points of the day, as long as you get your work done and go ahead and go to the grocery store or take care of kids or do something like that? What if that's your flexibility? What if the job doesn't pay top dollar, but it gives you that flexibility that you don't have? What if you're allowed to go as long as you go to work at 6 a.m, you come back home about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, nobody says a word, you got your work done? What what is it that makes us, slaves to the job? And why are some industries just like, hey, you need to work all the time, and other ones you don't? You say, well, some of those aren't very competitive, but I don't believe that. It seems like every business is somewhat competitive. So, in the themes of in the theme of compensation, or in the idea of compensation, should we put more weight or more emphasis on free time? It's just a question that I had. I don't know the answer, but these are the kinds of things I think about on a daily basis. There's people have given their lives to work for organizations, and maybe they also did such things as maybe they worked really hard one night when they maybe should have been home, and maybe their spouse left them because of their work ethic. Is that worth it? How much money is it worth it for you to get rid of your spouse, as far as like somebody you actually cared about, but you decided that you needed to work longer hours and do that? Is there a number? I mean, is it 100,000, 200,000? What's the number? And boy, I got to thinking today. I was driving down the road, and you think about things in a certain way, and when you really think about it, okay, employers pay you just enough money to make it, just enough money to get by. I don't believe that they compensate you based on anything other than some sort of weird market forces that aren't really market forces at all, because there's all kinds of hands in the pot and it doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it, when I was a kid, 1977, born 1977, if you made $100,000 a year, that was really something. That was six figures. And there's been studies, of course, that say that once you get past like 60 or 70,000, it really doesn't matter as far as contributing to your happiness. I don't believe those studies. But if you think about it, and that's what I've always thought was kind of funny about like Warren Buffett, where he brings in these CEOs, and any of those CEOs, if they worked for 1 year, they could leave and have plenty of money for the rest of their lives as long as they invested it properly. But they don't; they stay on, and so then you get in this idea of like, what are we working for? Like, what is the point of this? Like, why are we doing this? So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. It's like what I see a lot of times is you'll have somebody say, this is a CEO at a company and they're losing money, and why are you paying them, $20 million? And it's like, well, because they apparently have some sort of expertise that or they could go somewhere else and earn, $25 million a year or something. Some sort of weird old thing. I mean, it's just a bizarre thing, because when you look at like the lower line workers, I mean, they're struggling to feed their families. They're struggling to do all this. And it's like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's always been talk about like the CEO shouldn't make X amount of times more than the lowest paid employee, or a multiple of. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I don't know that it works. I don't know that the math works out, to be honest. I don't know that the math works out. But in America, even now, excuse me, I think we should always be looking for ways to pay workers more. In my own small business, I would love to have a full-time employee that just worked in the office. I would love that. But once you get past the hourly wages, the insurance, the taxes, the workman's comp, it gets pretty pricey. And there's months where I don't get an income. So now I'm subsidizing someone else's income over mine. And that's tough. That's really tough. So I don't know about that. One of the things I think that we haven't been honest about, that I really wish we would, I don't think our economy is built for like everyone earning six figures. I mean, like, you could be the best janitor in the world. I don't think you're making six figures. And this isn't to put down janitors. It's just the way I look at things. even if you paid the best wage for a janitor, like, what are you getting? You know? And I think this is true across the board. Like, pick any profession you want. Okay. And even at the very top of the chain, those numbers still pale in comparison to the board members, stuff like that in an organization, in a large corporation. It's just a very, very odd thing to me. And I don't know, it's strange. So do I have any concrete answers? Like, no. I can't tell you, hey, I think it's a great idea that everybody in an organization, because what if you did the thing where the CEO can't make more than, say, 4 times the lowest paid employee? Like, I mean, you'd be having like a $70,000 or $100,000 janitor. And then how are you competing in the marketplace like that? You know, do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. How many jobs in an organization actually directly contribute to the revenue? Like, you know, if you're the 4th accountant, I mean, like, how do they justify your salary? Like, it's very, very strange. There's not a one-to-one relationship. So, for instance, when I go and someone calls me and says, hey, John, will you help me sell your house, or help me sell my house? I say, sure. And when I do sell that house, I get paid. Okay. That's a one-to-one relationship. But in these organizations where there's, you know, hundreds of thousands of employees, it kind of gets lost in there, like what one individual does to justify the wage they make. To me, I don't know. Maybe I'm totally off base, but I'm kind of getting tired of all this stuff. I don't know really what I mean by stuff. I mean, I just think that wages are messed up in the United States. I think they don't make a lot of sense. And I think that because of that, we're having other problems in the economy. But let's get into articles. I mean, we're 12 minutes in. Let's get into something. This is the first article. I don't know how long I'm going to take on it. We're going to read through it. Let me get here. And I feel like I'm getting better. I think this is the best thing to talk about for us, because this will, this will, to me, help you define, and me, help you define me. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I like this one better. Okay. So this is from Yahoo. Now, is Yahoo the greatest news source ever? No. But anyway, it says, this is from the Daily Beast. So can you trust it? I don't know. Twitter employees are freaking out about Elon Musk. Now, why? Why are Twitter employees freaking out about Elon Musk? Well, it says in this article, it talks about Elon Musk, who's a South African-born American entrepreneur. Okay. So, like, I'm just going to go through this and we'll, like, I don't understand. I'm telling you, like, up front, I don't understand. Why is it that why would employees be freaked out that Elon Musk bought Twitter? I mean, what would be the reason for that? Shouldn't they be happy that the company was, wanted for a premium? Okay, here we go. By the way, I don't expect this article to be fair to Elon Musk by any stretch of the imagination. It says he mulled their headquarters, turning their headquarters into a homeless shelter. Oh, and for full disclosure, let's put this out there. I follow Elon Musk on Twitter, and I have since before this all started. I have praised Elon Musk in the past because I believe that his ability to get on the front page of newspapers, or, whatever we have these days, front page on websites, to be a part of the conversation almost weekly is impressive, because he's one man. And the fact that he can get away with some of this stuff, to me, is impressive. So I'm not really a fanboy of Elon Musk. There's some things that I don't like. For instance, the electric car, the Tesla. I mean, I don't want an electric car. I mean, they may be the best car you could have. The people that drive them, it's just, they're not who I am. Anyway, I might get a Tesla down the road. I'm just saying for right now, it's just not my thing. Let's continue. So we did this. He mulled turning their headquarters into a homeless shelter, questioned whether the company was dying, and tweeted out major corporate news that launched a full-scale SEC investigation. Now at Twitter, Elon Musk will soon be the boss. So I remember when he tweeted out that they could take Tesla private. It didn't seem like a good idea to me, but it worked out. As far as turning the headquarters of Twitter into a homeless shelter, have you been to San Francisco? They need some help. I thought he was doing something nice. And questioning the company was dying, I think that any good boss should question the relevance of an organization. Like, what are we here for? What is the mission of the organization? Why is that weird? So let's get going. It says then, it's no surprise that many of the companies are on edge and have been for weeks. Okay, well, that's kind of weird. You've got someone that's buying the company at a premium, okay? He's going to inject new thoughts, new life into this kind of stagnant organization. You shouldn't be on edge. Remember, Obama said that we need hope and change. Obama, hope and change. I'm in need of a stiff drink, one current employee tweeted on Monday, following news that the company had accepted Musk's roughly $44 billion offer. $50 billion spent on a social media site when people are starving to death, added another. Now, I love these kind of people. Because what they do is they say, well, you should spend your money on something else. If you're a billionaire, you should spend your money on something else. Like, as if you have a choice as to how some other billionaire wants to spend their money. Now, this idea, like this person that wrote this, can certainly give all of your money to the homeless, to the starving. You can do that. That's your choice. You don't need Musk's money to do so. So anyway, that's to me one of the more bizarre things is someone has quote unquote earned their money, and then you're going to tell them how to spend it. What is this about? I'm sure that he's never given any money to charity. I'm sure that Elon Musk has never given a dime to any sort of charity. The comments on Blind, an anonymous social media site, have been even more pointed. Musk is dishonest, clueless, and mentally ill, wrote one user whose account was verified with an active Twitter email address. A Blind spokesperson confirmed. It's possible there's this thing called confession through projection. And Viva Fry and Robert Barnes talk about it all the time. It's most likely that this user is dishonest, clueless, and mentally ill, but they're projecting that on others. Another employee took aim at the billionaire supporters inside the company's rank. Elon fanboys are brain dead mouth breathers, and we have a bunch of them at Twitter. For the record, I can't wait until he lays half of us off. Like, when you think so negatively about your fellow employee, to me, it seems like you'd be, how do I put it? You'd be happy to waste other people's time, like on the clock. Because what you're going to need is somebody to come and talk to you and be all friendly with you and say, oh, we're sorry that you're struggling and how can we help you? I don't think this is a good thing. Okay, here we go. Some of the more measured critiques question whether Musk could devote sufficient attention to the platform, considering his existing workload at Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, Tunneling Project, the brain implant maker Neuralink, a growing family, and other projects. Okay, so the fact that they had to tell you what the Boring Company is and what Neuralink is kind of interesting, because I guess we're supposed to just know what SpaceX and Tesla are. Why does anyone think that having a CEO run multiple companies is a good thing for Twitter? One employee commented. Former CEO Jack Dorsey did this and got tons of heat for it. It's not going to be different from Elon. It is not yet known what role Musk will take at the business or what will happen to its existing leadership team. Twitter did not respond to a request for comment, so it says the story continues. But let's go over this comment, because it revolves around the nature of work, the nature of employment. So here we go. Jack Dorsey in the past month has been very vocal on Twitter, and recently he said that he felt that Twitter was bogged down by its board and by the Wall Street model of an ad-based service. Now, I don't know how Elon Musk will monetize Twitter. Okay. And one of the things that I've been concerned about is he can be as free speech as he wants to be. He still runs on Amazon Web Services, and he still has to be in the Apple iStore or Apple Store and the Android store. And Google and Apple can shut him down in a minute like that. So he's taking quite a gamble. So though tensions are high, employees' opinions on the billionaire appear split. As the New York Times previously reported, an informal poll of roughly 200 employees on Blind found that 27% hated Musk, 27% loved him, and 44% were neutral. I don't trust the New York Times to do anything. Just putting it out there. So to me, I mean, based on their own fake news, there's just no way that I would trust any sort of poll or anything that the New York Times had to do with anything. They are a sham of an organization. Musk has a track record of brutally intense management. In one anecdote cited by Wired, the billionaire once arrived at a Tesla plant late on a Saturday night in 2017 and confronted a young engineer whose equipment was malfunctioning. "Hey, buddy, this doesn't work," Musk allegedly screamed at the bewildered worker. "You're a blanking idiot. Get the blank out and don't come back." The employee, who had never met the big boss before, was out of a job. Now, we don't know, I'm not going to defend Musk, but we don't know anything about this. It says confronted a young engineer whose equipment was malfunctioning. Was the employee's job to make sure that this doesn't malfunction? I mean, what is the deal? We don't know anything about this. Okay? Nothing. And to me, it's one of those things like, look, people don't always have good days. Okay? Like, seriously. I mean, and that's true with everyone. It's when you continually have these issues that I start thinking there's a pattern. So anyway, the employee, more recently, California authorities sued the electric car maker this year over allegations of race discrimination and harassment. Okay, now let's understand what's going on here. California was all over Musk during the COVID pandemic. Okay, and Musk said, "You know what? We're going to open our headquarters in Austin, Texas. We're leaving California." Okay, California is a mess. We don't want to have anything to do with it. Okay, so then what happened? Well, now California needs to try and save face, and so they've sued. But who knows, right? It's allegations, and that's the other thing is they're taking an allegation and they're using that to bludgeon Musk in this article. But it's an allegation; it's not proven in a court of law. And even if it is, I mean, what are we talking about here? Multiple staffers have claimed that misconduct runs rampant at Tesla's plants, including one worker who was awarded $137 million after accusing his supervisors of repeatedly taunting him with racial epithets. So do you think that Elon Musk sits around and says, "Hey, Mr. Manager, I need you to say the most vile things to your employee," okay, so that he sues us for 137? Do you think Musk is spending his time doing that? It doesn't pass the smell test. Elon has not called me, sent me a letter, a text, skywriting, or sent up one of them spaceships to say I'm sorry, he told the Daily Beast last fall. A judge later lowered his award to $15 million. Now, you sued your employer. You got a $137 million award that was later reduced to $15 million. Okay. What are you complaining about? What makes you think that the CEO of an organization wants to talk to you? You are not someone that I would want to talk to. No offense. Continuing, Twitter employees work in a markedly different environment, though its staff seems unsure what to expect from Musk. Now, what does this mean? Twitter employees work in a markedly different environment than a factory or than a tech company? Like, I don't know what this means. And I'm not trying to be smart. I'm just trying to understand so I can have some sort of reaction to it. I can admit that I'm anxious about the whole thing, a machine learning engineer tweeted on Monday. We're all excited about the product and want to do better to make it everyone feel heard and empowered in a way that betters humanity. And so it's like, I think that it's fair to be anxious about change. Don't you? I mean, that seems reasonable. So it says, can someone just tell me if I'm rich or fired, please? Joked another staffer. Well, there's nothing wrong with having a joke, is there? One current senior manager simply directed the Daily Beast on Monday to one of his previous tweets, which featured a skeleton alongside with the caption, "Me when there's finally a normal week working at twitter.com." So I don't know what that means. So one of his previous tweets, which featured a skeleton alongside the caption of "Me when there's finally a normal week working at twitter.com." So is he saying that he enjoys not normal every week? In recent weeks, numerous staffers, perhaps believing that a deal with Musk wouldn't go through, openly critiqued the billionaire. Let me tell you a crazy thing that happened to a company I love, one product employee wrote to Musk, referring to Twitter. A guy offered to buy it for $54.20 a share when it was $70 a share last summer. Well, yes, that is something. That is something. I looked at the chart since its inception. I think honestly, it came out like 7 years ago or longer. At like in the 30s, and it stayed in the 30s. I mean, it went up and went down, but I mean, pretty much just very stagnant stock. Anyway, another employee assailed Musk's penchant for trolling, liking him to a playground bully, pandering to his fanboy lackeys for a joke about removing the W from Twitter's name. Now, I thought that was hilarious. And this must be the difference between, this must be why I don't understand why people are upset. Scott Adams, who created Dilbert, he says that, like, I think only 30% of the population can understand a joke, which means that 60% can't. And if that's the case, with no sense of humor, your life would be terrible. But anyway, if you can't figure out that was hilarious, that's on you. That's on you. Musk's acquisition is slated to close sometime this year. Time will reveal whether he can win the disgruntled employees back, assuming they stick around at all. You think Musk or anyone else cares about the disgruntled employees of Twitter? And why do we want them to stick around at all? Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, like, here you're already upset and you're not working and you're miserable. Like, why do I want you in my organization? It's just like, it's like Looney Tunes. I don't even understand. People are saying they're never going to go to Twitter. They're going to go back to Tumblr. This doesn't make any sense to me. None of it. Anyway, like, does Musk not want to make money at this organization? I mean, I think he would. I just don't understand. And so let's talk about it in a larger case. What happens in a normal organization when someone, let's say there's a hostile takeover of an organization? What happens? Do some employees get fired? Yes. Do some employees leave? Absolutely. Is this going to be any different than that? I mean, that's what I don't get. It's not any different than any other organization being bought out by someone else. And I used to think, well, there must be something wrong with an organization for them to get bought out. Like they didn't do something right. Now I just know better. Like Adobe, the software company, if there's somebody out there that produces software that rivals theirs in any sort of industry that they're involved in, they literally just buy the company. It's cheaper to buy the company and not compete than sit there and try and allow them to take away market share. There was this stuff called Autodesk. It was like architecture software, CAD software. They would do the same thing. Something comes out like a SketchUp or anything, they'll just buy it. Just buy it. Whatever the number is, just we'll buy it because it wasn't worth it to them to compete directly with that group. And so in this case, I mean, there's really never been anything quite like Twitter with the followers, the engagement and whatnot. For a long time, I had stayed off of Twitter. I didn't feel like it was good for my health. And now I've gotten back with it with Deerwood Realty, and I do have the account for Our Nature of Employment. And I think it's actually going to be better now. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened on Twitter over time. What was a good idea at first really went in the wrong direction to me. And so we'll just see how it goes. But I did think that was interesting. I did think that was worthy of some discussion. Let's go on to the next article I also thought was fascinating. It's out of the Guardian, and I got to get rid of all this stuff. I'm sorry. It says, octopus farming. Critics say plans are unethical for an exceptionally intelligent animal. And so my thinking is, to me, there's a lot of times where business does seem to be unethical. For instance, to me, if you're in a country where one of your greatest industries is machines for killing, like, jets, missiles, I forgot what the word is, drones. Like your job is to produce products that kill others. To me, it seems unethical that you would have any sort of say at the table when someone's discussing a world conflict. Like it seems like you've got kind of a bias there. Yet in America, here we are. Our greatest companies are always at the war trough, and certainly they are with Ukraine. And I just find it to be unethical. But I guess other people think it's fine or they deal with it. And so when you talk about something such as octopus farming, to me, that's not really on the scale as a military defense contractor openly hoping for war. Let's continue with the film My Octopus Teacher showing their complexity. Questions are being raised about plans for the world's first farm. Now, I don't understand anything about octopuses, and I did not watch My Octopus Teacher. So, let's be fair here. I'm kind of shooting from the hip on this one. It says one of the hardest things about working with octopuses is their mood swings, says Dr. Alex Schnell. They can be bold and gregarious one day, and then the next day they refuse to come out of their den, says the behavioral ecologist who studies cephalopods. Octopuses are complex, intelligent creatures. They can change the color and texture of their skin, disguise themselves, use tools, and squeeze into tiny spaces. Their intricate lives burst into the public consciousness in 2020 with the Oscar-winning documentary, My Octopus Teacher, about the relationship between a filmmaker and an octopus. Yet, while I didn't know anything about this, and it was 2 years ago. Yet, while the common octopus, Octopus vulgaris, may have found its way into people's hearts, it's also now at the center of plans by a Spanish fishing company, Nueva Pescanova, to open the world's first commercial octopus farm in the Canary Islands next year. Demand for octopus meat is increasing. The number of octopuses caught in the wild doubled between 1980 and 2014, but commercial octopus farming has proved elusive. From Spain and Mexico to Japan and Hawaii, companies and scientists have been working for decades to solve the myriad challenges it poses, including keeping hatchlings alive, calculating tank conditions, and developing the right feed. The prize is cultivating an animal that grows quickly, reproduces easily, and commands a high price. Now, I don't know anything about this. I'm just reading it because I think it's fascinating. Nueva Pescanova now appears on the verge of winning this race with a facility that it claims will eventually produce 3,000 tons of octopus meat a year. 3,000 tons. That's a lot of octopus. The company argues that the farm will not only fulfill the growing demand for octopus meat, but also relieve pressure on wild populations. Well, that seems like a good thing. It seems like a good thing, but I don't know much about this. It says more than 350,000 tons of octopus are caught each year in countries including China, Japan, and Mexico, and wild populations are believed to be rapidly declining. Farming octopuses is necessary to protect a species of great environmental and human value, says a Nueva Pescanova spokesperson. All right, so they're saying, hey, there's not enough of these octopus in the wild. We need to grow our own. Okay, and then other people are saying, no, not a good idea. So let's figure out why it's not a good idea. Critics counter that cultivating these complex creatures would cause great suffering and replicate the harms prevalent in land-based factory farming. The UK recognized octopuses as sentient beings last year. I don't know what that means, but I don't understand that it would replicate the harms prevalent in land-based factory farming. Generally, solitary animals, octopuses, can become aggressive when kept in close proximity to others. Captive octopuses have been known to eat their own arms. Said Becca Franks, an environmental studies research scientist at New York University, and they are renowned escaped artists, suggesting that they do not like being kept in tanks. We're talking about octopus here. They need stimulation, said Schnell. If they're kept in a barren plastic tank, they're going to feel extremely exposed. Schnell was part of a team of scientists behind a 2021 London School of Economics report that reviewed more than 300 scientific studies on sentience in invertebrates, including octopuses, and found very strong evidence of sentience in octopuses and that they can feel pain and distress, concluding, we are convinced that a high welfare octopus farming is impossible. I don't think that's impossible. I think you can do pretty much anything in the world. I just hope I don't have to take another drink because that was my last bit of soda. While cows, pigs, and other farmed animals are also sentient, much more is known about their welfare needs, says Schnell. There are no behavioral proxies for measuring octopus welfare, she said, and developing one is hard because of these significant shifts in their behavior from day to day. So I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but what I'm trying to understand here by reading this, it's like, we know that octopuses are sentient, okay? And like you have a cow and it's sentient, but like we've had cows for maybe 1,000 years on a farm and we kind of got it figured out. Like we know what they need, but we don't know about octopus. And so rather than learn about octopuses in a farm and try it, we're going to complain about it so that we can't learn. So that these other fishermen can go and get all of the wild octopus and eat them all. Schnell is particularly concerned about how the octopuses would be killed. There's no reliable humane slaughter method that could be performed commercially on a large scale. A variety of methods are used to kill octopuses in the wild, including clubbing, slicing their brains, and asphyxiation in a net. Well, that doesn't sound like a good way to go. I mean, how does a cow get killed? Is that humane? Nueva Pescanova says facility will be at the forefront of best practices in animal welfare and environmental sustainability, but would not specify how big the tanks would be, nor how densely the octopuses would be kept, nor how its slaughter process would avoid any pain or suffering, as it has claimed. Well, I mean, what are they going to say? Yeah, we're going to club the thing. It just doesn't sound good. Carlos Rosas, A biologist at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, who's working with Nueva Pescanova, believes welfare concerns are a distortion. We're trying to offer the animals the best environment because we're looking for growth. Rosas uses tubes, rocks, and artificial grasses in tanks at his small-scale demonstration farm in Yucatan to mimic more natural conditions. His octopuses never escape. Like, really, seriously, you put a lid on it. Like, put a lid on the box. They're not getting out. Maybe put some screws in it. That's a very odd claim. Like, hey, I figured out how to not let an octopus escape. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Whether these conditions would be replicated at an industrial scale proposed by Nueva Pescanova is unclear, Rosas said. He believes octopus farming can offer economic opportunities. In Mexico, aquaculture is an alternative for poor people who are living on the coasts and echoes Nueva Pescanova's argument about relieving pressure on wild stock. Now, he does own, he is kind of bought and paid for by Nueva Pescanova. I mean, I don't expect him to say anything negative towards that organization. Do you? You say, well, he's an expert. Yeah. Sure. However, claims that farming can prevent overfishing are disputed. A 2019 study concluded that aquaculture did little to offset the harms of wild fishing and may lead to a greater demand for seafood. So the idea is, like, you're growing extra octopus, and because of that, maybe the prices of wild octopus go down, and so that makes the demand go up for more octopus. So it's like a feedback loop from hell where you're just clubbing more octopus yearly. I don't know. The best way to relieve pressure on wild stocks would be to increase prices and view octopus meat as a delicacy, said Schnell. Well, just like if you increase the prices, no one will buy the product. The farms may also still require wild-caught fish to feed the octopuses, further adding pressure on the oceans. The industry really has to justify farming carnivores because this, from a sustainability perspective, makes zero sense, says Jennifer Jacquette, associate professor of environmental studies at New York University. I suspect there's a D behind her name. In February, dozens of animal rights activists, organized by Spain's Animal Rights Party, they have an animal rights party, isn't that crazy, gathered in the Canary Islands to protest against the new farm. It's an obvious injustice to open a place that exploits such an exceptionally intelligent animal. You have this species that has actually been thanked at the BAFTAs, said Jacquette, and then you have this push, really big push to farm the animal. So let's talk about this in our nature of employment way. Number one, this Carlos Rosas is working with the octopus farmers, potential octopus farmers. Does that make him a bad person? Should he quit his job as octopus researcher because he's doing something unethical? Should Nueva Pescanova do something unethical? They say they're trying to help. They say the more octopus we can farm, the less octopus get eaten in the wild. Should we just stop eating octopus? I don't understand why, no offense to anyone out there that knows, but why are more people eating octopus? And why do I say it like that? Octopus. Well, it's because it's kind of funny to me. The word's kind of funny. This might have been the whole reason why I did the reading, an excuse to say the word octopus over and over and over again. But let's just say this. Let's say you're a spokesperson for Nueva Pescanova. That means you're the spokesperson for the company that's trying to build an octopus farm. Are you ever going to say anything that would indicate that you're doing a bad thing? And that's kind of where I'm at is, like, so you're a parent and you're the spokesperson for Nueva Pescanova, and your child's like so proud of you. My dad or my mom is the spokesperson for a fishing organization. And it's like, well, they also are trying to kill a lot of octopus. And you're like, well, are what? I mean, are you still proud of your father or mother for their work? It's that's what I'm saying. That jobs are absurd. And then are they lying? Are these parents lying about what Nueva Pescanova plans to do? I mean, have they already ordered a lot of clubs to beat the octopus that they grow into submission and to kill them? I mean, this is a problem to me. And I don't even look. You want to say that octopus are smart? I don't. Okay, all right. I'm all right with that. You want to say a cow's smart? Okay. I don't really care. Like, for me, like a cow, I mean, I like beef. I'm not ashamed to say it. I like it. I'm not a big fan of octopus. I've never tried it, and I'm sure it tastes like chicken, but I'm not going to eat it. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Working for an organization that on one hand believes it is very ethical, and yet people that don't work there think it's very unethical. I mean, human progress, hey, we created the first octopus farm. You'd think that'd be a positive thing. Apparently it's not. I don't know. I think definitely the thumbnail tonight is going to be an octopus. I kind of want it to be, there's going to be a Twitter logo too. Because this has been wonderful. This has been joyous. Now I have another article for you that I think is also fascinating. This is from the New York Post. And when I heard this, and I couldn't believe it. Okay. So let's get to it. It says, man wins. By the way, I'm just checking to see if anyone's in my chat, but no one's in my chat, so we'll continue. Man wins $450,000 lawsuit after surprise work birthday party triggers panic attack. Now, really? Surprise, a Kentucky man has been awarded $450,000 after his colleagues threw him an office birthday party against his wishes. Okay, now let me read that to you again. Surprise, a Kentucky man has been awarded $450,000 after his colleagues, and I'm guessing like friends, I'm not sure, threw him an office party against his wishes. Kevin Burling was working as a lab technician at Gravity Diagnostics in Covington when his coworkers conducted the lunchtime celebration back in August 2019. Burling said he subsequently suffered a panic attack from the unwanted attention and was soon fired from Gravity Diagnostics. He later filed a compensation suit against the company, according to legal docs seen by the Post. Managers started giving him a hard time for his response to the birthday celebrations. Burling's attorney, Tony Bucher, told the local TV news outlet WKRC in Cincinnati. Really? No, it's WKRP. Wow. They actually accused him of stealing his coworker's joy. So, like, let me get this straight. Like, the guy, they had a birthday party. This guy had a freak out, lost his job because of it. And then, like, some people were like, hey, you're the worst, buddy ever, freaking out over somebody thinking of you for your birthday. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Like, it's very important to me that in an organization, like, my employees feel like they're part of something. Like, if your family member dies, like, I want to be empathetic and say, I'm sorry for your loss. Maybe get some flowers. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to understand this. Burling had allegedly asked the office manager not to throw a birthday party for him when he first joined the company in 2018. So I'm trying to understand this too. He's like, congratulations, you're hired. And then this guy's like, hey, that's cool. Like, I know you know my birthday, but don't ever throw me a birthday party or else. However, the manager subsequently forgot his request, and the office festivities went ahead, giving Burling a panic attack. He was forced to flee to his car, where he spent an hour trying to recover. This is so bizarre to me, okay? This is so bizarre to me. Like seriously. Okay. The following day, company bosses held a meeting with Burling to ask about his behavior. The incident sparked a second panic attack. See, to me, now I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this to me seems like, it even says here, employers need to reach out to workers struggling with mental health issues. This fellow seems to have needed some help. I'm not trying to be mean. Like, I don't think it's funny, but I mean, we're panic attacking over like birthday party. Like, it's hard to understand. Something might be a little wrong, you know. Anyway, he was fired from Gravity Diagnostics less than a week later, with bosses telling him they were worried about him being angry and possibly becoming violent. Well, I mean, he's acting weird. Let's be honest. To me, he's acting weird. Panic attacks over your birthday at work, not a reason. I mean, that just it's bad. The lab technician subsequently missed out on being a part of Gravity Diagnostics' rapid growth, which occurred during the COVID pandemic. At one time, some employees were given 300% raises, the Independent reported. The sacked worker subsequently filed a lawsuit in Kenton County seeking damages and compensation for lost income. Butcher told WKRC there's no chance of his client becoming violent, saying he was simply using coping techniques to calm himself down during both of his panic attacks. On Friday, a 12-person jury unanimously awarded Burling $450,000 judgment against the company. The amount includes $120,000 in lost wages and benefits, $30,000 in future wages, and $300,000 for past, present, and future mental pain and suffering, mental anguish, embarrassment, humiliation, mortification, and the loss of self-esteem, according to the judgment in Burling's favor. Now, the loss of self-esteem, you're already having panic attacks over someone throwing you a birthday party. I can't imagine that your self-esteem is that high. Gravity Diagnostics told the Post that the verdict was improper and said that they would appeal if necessary. The spokesman for the company further claimed the case should never have gone to trial in the first place because Burling did not disclose he had a disability and made threatening behavior to a female supervisor after the birthday party. I don't know. Now, this is interesting. Are you required to disclose a disability to your employer? Gravity Diagnostics, they have a commitment to zero tolerance for violence in the workplace, and that employers are entitled to and indeed should take prompt action in this era of workplace violence. So he's saying, hey, or they, the spokesperson, are saying, look, people are crazy out there now. What are we doing here? Like, we're just trying to protect ourselves. What if this guy loses it? I mean, what if we have a anniversary for him, like a 1-year anniversary party? I mean, is he going to stick us all with knives? It's a very, very difficult situation. I don't think there's any winners and lose. I mean, I don't think there's any winners here. A lot of losing. Let me try to, like, all I can think about is that cake scene in the movie Office Space, where Milton wants his cake and they keep passing it around and he doesn't get any cake. It's very depressing. Funny, hilarious movie. I don't know if you've ever seen Office Space. I enjoyed it. Looks like we have time for one more article. Let's do it. This is from Forbes. Just hit the button. This is just an ad. It says, I thought this one is interesting myself. It says, should young college graduates earn $100,000 in starting salaries? My first answer to that is none of your damn business. What do you care? And stay out of it. Stop telling people what's okay to earn. I just told you what I thought. Wall Street Journal reported recent college graduates receiving $100,000 starting salaries at big investment banks, and not everybody's happy about it. Millie Wang earned about $85,000 when she joined an investment bank out of Harvard University in 2016 and said about the new pay grade for new graduates, I've definitely heard a lot of disgruntlement from my fellow bankers. Let's just talk about this for one moment. Like, have you ever tried to live in New York City on like $10,000? I mean, almost impossible. Almost impossible. So now if you're in the middle of Missouri, not saying you're going to live well on 10,000, but I mean, there's definitely a cost of different, cost of the living difference. That's why I've always been a little bit confused by government pay. Like if you're in some god awful place where there's no real anything but a government job, and then you're paid along a national pay scale, seems a little odd. Seems like it should be like relative to where you live, but I don't make the rules. This isn't new. The competition at Wall Street banks, fintech firms, cryptocurrency exchanges, and other financial institutions have been skyrocketing during the pandemic. It's not just the securities industry. Tech talent earns small fortunes as companies can't find enough qualified applicants. The race for software engineers is so fierce that businesses are recruiting remote workers around the world. They're also offering upskilling and coding boot camps to provide the tools for people to gain access to the tech ecosystem. That's my understanding. I do know a lady that is what we used to call a headhunter for a tech company, and the wages that those people earn are just out of control. I mean, in a good way for them. The competition is highly competitive at cryptocurrency exchanges. They also tend to offer remote work options and other great benefits. Typical total compensation packages at Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchanges usually offer employees equity, stock options, and restricted stock units, which could result in future windfalls if the firm does well. According to self-reported salary data listed on Blind, software engineers and technologists have reported job offers as high as $900,000 a year. The nearly $1 million pay package for senior staff software engineer includes stock-based compensation of $450,000 a year plus cash bonuses that range from 5% to 15% of an employee's base salary. These professionals can easily command total compensation packages earning more than $1.5 million. And here I am messing around with real estate. And here you are messing around with whatever it is you mess around with. Why don't we all go into cryptocurrency? Because we can't. If we all went in there, then it wouldn't be making any money. So let's continue. An increase in trading activities, the launching of SPACs and other capital markets kept bankers busy and produced outsized revenue gains and profits for the companies. The financial firms need to keep their people working and motivated to take advantage of the sweet spot they're going through. The financial industry needs to cater to Generation Z workers who are in their early 20s. They have different mindset compared to prior generations. They want a healthy work-life balance. They've seen how their baby boomer and Gen X parents spent the better part of their lives toiling away at jobs they didn't like. Am I a Gen Z worker? Because I don't like what I saw. Many young adults witnessed their mothers and fathers unceremoniously laid off during financial crisis and pandemic, have their jobs relocated, or failed to be promoted. 100%. 100%. There's nothing wrong with Generation Z workers thinking about that. Watching this happen, they've learned the game. There's no loyalty on the part of corporations. So it's time for them to become free agents and navigate their own futures. This includes finding companies that treat their employees with respect and dignity. The young adults seek out organizations that offer meaningful jobs that serve a greater purpose. So they're not going to go work at the Octopus Farm, in theory. I mean, you're going to have to pay them an awful lot. It's also important for them to work at a firm that stands for the same social and political issues they champion. This cohort also wants to get paid well for their efforts. I don't want politics in my organization. I don't want the same social and political issues championed in the workforce. I want nothing to do with it. I work for the almighty dollar. I want more money. However I can get more money is how I want to work. That doesn't make me a bad person. I don't care about your social issues at all, or political. It's not hard to figure out the politics. They're all corrupt. Done. Securing a job in investment banking has historically been a big goal of university students for generations. It was viewed as the ticket to building incredible wealth and achieving a high level of social status. That's another thing. Social status. We don't talk about that enough in the employment workspace. I don't have a high social status. And because of that, I don't have a six-figure job. I'm okay with that. I refuse to play the game. Other people are not as lucky, and they decide that that's how they want to live. The profession dealing with mergers and acquisitions, taking companies public with IPOs, or trading stocks and bonds appears to be an attractive and exciting career from an outside perspective. At Silicon Valley and tech companies boomed, it stole some of the thunder from Wall Street as young people wanted to ditch the confining suits and ties in favor of jeans and hoodies. Hot startups and jobs with big-name companies like Twitter, Apple, Meta, and Amazon offer intellectually challenging jobs and the chance to receive stock and options that could earn a windfall for workers who are in the right place at the right time. With the ascension of crypto, cool new fintech companies like Robinhood and other newly emerging types of sectors like the cannabis industry have also attracted potential would-be bankers. The image of Wall Street firms and investment bankers has lost some of its luster. A prior report of inhumane 100-hour work weeks has further tarnished the banker brand. High-end investment bank Goldman Sachs was accused by junior employees of having to endure terrible work conditions. So you mean just because I get this awesome job, it's not really an awesome job? Group of 13 disgruntled first-year analysts at Goldman Sachs made waves by sending a professional-looking presentation in the company's style about their experiences at the investment bank. The resulting working conditions survey, polling the 13 analysts who created the slide deck that circulated on social media, said they worked an average of about 100 hours per week. I don't know how many hours I work per week. It's a lot. And I don't make any extra compensation for that. I hate to think about how many hours I work a week. It's hard for me to swallow. This prompted change included higher pay along with empathetic benefits. For example, Goldman Sachs sweetened employee benefits in an effort to attract and retrain their employees. Top tier investment bank is offering paid leave for pregnancy loss, expanding the amount of time employees can take for bereavement leave. Oh, great. Thanks. My family member just passed away. You're giving me a few more days. Introducing an unpaid sabbatical for longtime employees, increasing its retirement fund matching contributions for U.S. employees, and eliminating the one-year waiting period before matching employee contributions. None of that seems to be that says it's sweetening the employee benefits. It doesn't say anything about the pay. Oh, it says including higher pay. Okay. Bentley DeBuyer said about the program, Goldman's head of human resources, Bentley DeBuyer. That's all you need to know is just by the name of what smug people work at Goldman. We wanted to offer a compelling value proposition to current and prospective employees and want to make sure we're leading, not just competing. Investment banks scrambled to offer better pay, bonuses, and incentives. Jefferies Financial Group, a mid-sized investment bank, graciously offered its over 1,000 junior bankers the option of a Peloton bike with a one-year subscription, a Mir home with a workout system with a one-year subscription, or a package featuring an Apple SE Watch, an iPad Air, and AirPod Pros with Apple Care Plus. I don't want that stuff. I just want better pay. Always. You keep the bike. You give me the money. International Swiss bank Credit Suisse informed investment bankers that they will receive $20,000 bonuses. This would be for an entry and mid-level bankers. There will be increases to the salary of workers who are below the managing director level. The bank will also allow casual dress attire when people return to the office. Oh, joy. In an effort to keep associates happy and staying at the private equity giant Apollo Global Management, the company is offering six-figure retention-type bonuses. In a hot market, Apollo plans to make about $100,000 to $200,000 awards predicated upon the recipients remaining with the private equity firm up until September 2022. The company will also provide the option for employees to work remotely for 2 days a week for the remainder of the year. For her 210,000 employees, Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser banned internal video calls on Fridays. The move was part of a larger program to set boundaries and help her people have a healthier work-life balance. Fraser also called for a new company-wide holiday called City Reset Day. It's considered a day of decompressing as the pandemic has taken a toll on the psyche of workers. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just gotten absurd. It's just gotten absurd. Now you can reasonably say that your working conditions are shit. Okay. That's reasonable. That's reasonable. But then to have one day out of the year that you have a day off that you're paid for, and it's a holiday, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's like we're patronizing people. I hate it. There may also be wage growth across all sectors, and inflation is raging at the highest rate in decades. The cost of nearly everything is going through the roof. If the Biden administration or the Federal Reserve can't stop this, the current inflationary spiral will ultimately lead to higher prices. The higher prices will cause workers to press their bosses for more money just to keep up with the alarming costs of food, gas, clothing, and everything else. If they don't receive a cost of inflation adjustment, they'll quit and find a job elsewhere. The scary part is that as people demand more pay, companies raise the price of goods and services. This could become a vicious upward spiral in wages and prices. Yes. 100% right. I don't really care. I don't care who earns $100,000 in salary. Doesn't mean what it used to mean. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to try to close this. I did. Okay. Well, that's all I'm going to do tonight. If you're watching this down the road, hey, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And it helps me because I'm a boomer and I like to see a lot of subscribers. I currently have 7, maybe 8. So maybe when you're watching, it's got like 10 or 20. That'd be good. But I'm going to head on out. I think we learned a lot, sort of. I don't know if we learned anything. But anyway, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you for watching. I will catch you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll talk about more employment issues because they're never going to end.